But here's the thing. That very idea has kind of led to this weird offshoot idea that more or less demonizes the idea of using gear to look or appear more professional or cool. And that, my friends, is bull. Hi, everybody. Jeremy with Moonlight Social here. If you are new to our channel, Moonlight Social is a band. We are an alternative duo in Nashville, Tennessee. But in addition to being a musician, I'm actually a director and a cinematographer as well. And a lot of the stuff you'll see on our channel, most of the stuff you'll see on our channel, are actually projects that, you know, in addition to not only recording and writing and producing the music ourselves, we do the music videos as well. And obviously, in addition to my own band, I do projects with a lot of other bands. I do narrative work, you know, commercial work, real estate work, all that good stuff. So I'm really passionate about, you know, not just music, but also directing and cinematography. And I use YouTube all the time for gear reviews, for tips and tricks and all that good stuff. And I realized that, you know, over the years, I've probably accumulated quite a few helpful pieces of advice that I could share as well. So this is the first video of this kind. Well, not the first, but like the first one where I'm trying. The first video of its kind on our channel like this. We're going to post a lot more. And if you're only here because of the tips and tricks on cinematography, please go check out some of the videos and some of our music up there as well. Everything on this channel is going to tie into each other. So if I'm talking about it, I've used this gear on these sets. I'll use examples from not just some of our other clients, but a lot of the stuff that we've done ourselves. You know, we'll talk about actively ongoing projects and all that kind of stuff. So I know that was a very long intro, and I apologize. But this is the first one, and I just thought that it was probably important to use that intro. So let's get to the nitty gritty, right? This first video is actually, to me, it's more of a concept. It's less of like a gear review and more of a conceptual point that I feel really strongly about. There's a very well-meaning, you know, idea in the film community that you shouldn't use gear just to use gear, right? The best tool for the job is always the one that's in front of you. And, you know, there is a lot of merit to that idea, for sure. You should never let the lack of gear affect whether or not you make the project, right? There is always a way to make the project. I mean, we are literally all walking around with very capable cameras in our pockets. You know, you can shoot full length way better than anything they used to have back in the day. There's no reason that you shouldn't make the project you want to make, regardless of what's available to you. But here's the thing. That very idea has kind of led to this weird offshoot idea that more or less demonizes the idea of using gear to look or appear more professional or cool. And that, my friends, is bull. There is nothing wrong with wanting to look cool on the job. Looking cool is literally motivation for like most industries, right? From clothes to jewelry and watches and makeup and cars and shoes and furniture. Like, people like to look cool, okay? If looking cool didn't matter and we only used things for their utility, it would be boring. We would all look the same and life would just be way more dull. In that same vein, there's nothing wrong with rigging out your camera in a way that you think looks cool. And in fact, in my experience, it actually leads to better results. And I'll explain what I mean by that in just a minute. But first, let's use a very good, fun, tried and true example, the matte box. That's right. This baby right here, you know them, you love them. They are pretty much synonymous with looking professional and cool. Now, there are obviously a lot of really important reasons to use a matte box. I'll explain them real quickly. I'm sure most of you know them, but you know, the first reason is to block out lens flares from the sun or surrounding light sources. The second one is to put filtration in front of your lens. So right now I've got a Schneider Indy filter, as well as behind this, a Schneider Hollywood Blackmagic filter. I'm not gonna go into like what they do specifically, but just know that they are very important to achieving a certain look, if that is the look you desire. You know, matte boxes are also great for adding additional protection to your lens, unless you rip it off, of course. They're great for adding protection in front of the lens when you're not shooting, right? Sweet, cool, extra protection. And then also there are a lot of A lot of times people will actually use matte boxes for additional support as a shoulder rig. Not so much these clip-on ones that are smaller, but the larger matte boxes, you'll see people actually handling the camera and using them to control their movement a little more steadily with the actual matte box. And then the last reason that people always have to throw in there is that, like, yeah, they look cool, right? They look professional. And all of those reasons are true and valid. I have shot a lot of projects without using a matte box in the past and gotten fantastic, great results. And you can do just about everything a matte box does without actually having a matte box, right? You can control your lens flares by, controlling your light sources, and if you're outside, using grip equipment. And you can add filtration in front of your lens by, using screw-on lenses if that's or screw-on filters if that's the type of lens you've got, or by manually holding, the filtration for certain cool looks. And you can protect your lens other ways and all that good stuff. But the one thing you can't substitute is how cool it looks. Like, there is no substitute for the way a matte box makes your rig look. And all things equal, let's say I have controlled all of those variables and I have the exact shot I want and I don't need a matte box. I'm still using a matte box because it looks cool. And that is a 100% valid reason to use a matte box. All right, so why am I adding a matte box just because it looks cool? And why is that a 100% valid reason? Here you go. The way you look on set matters. The way you present yourself, your image, how you talk to people, whether it's the director, your actors, your PAs, all of that is important. And your rig is an extension of your image. In my experience, when you use gear that feels and looks more professional, you get better results from the people around you. From your actors to your sound recordists, your PAs, everybody. You just end up getting better results because people see that you've come with a professional setup. They trust, whether or not they know the technical knowledge behind, the setup, they trust that you are bringing your A game with your A rig. And honestly, you get better results from yourself too because of that. It inspires self-confidence to know that people trust you based off of your image and your appearance. It's literally the film equivalent of wearing your favorite outfit, or putting on the fake lashes with the rest of the makeup, or the shoes that you love the most, going for a jog before you go to work, whatever it is that gets you going. That is what having a cool looking rig is for the film industry. So your reel and your relationships, might get you hired, but in my experience, when you're on set, a lot of that goes away and you end up dealing with, clients who are second guessing some of your decisions, or other people who want to add their input and interject in ways that might not be very conducive in that particular environment. For whatever reason, slap a matte box in front of the lens and a lot of that goes away. People are just like, nah, that guy's a professional. Clearly he knows what he's doing. It's not all the time, but it just, the difference between, a DSLR with a little 50 millimeter pancake lens, which is a great setup. He gets a lot of stuff done. But the difference between that and, a slightly longer lens with a matte box, maybe a nice little cage and a handle and whatever, V-mount or MPF battery, it's huge. It is absolutely huge. It's wild. It probably shouldn't be that way. I wish that people would just trust things and that, all professionals would get to do their work and then be judged by the end result. But it's just kind of how it works in a lot of industries, film included. So show up with a, more professional, cooler looking rig, people tend to leave you alone and let you do your job more. And, to reiterate, I've done a lot of projects in the past where I didn't use a matte box and the project still turned out great. But in the past couple of years, I've used them on pretty much every project, and I've, employed this kind of concept that I'm talking to you about now. And that is why I'm making this video, because I can tell and I understand the difference. So I guess the point of all this rambling on this first video, these will get better, I promise. But the point of this rambling is never let somebody make you feel bad for wanting to look cool or professional on set. If you don't need a matte box to get the shot that you want, but adding a matte box makes you look more professional, do it. And do it proudly. Look cool. Like I said, a lot of times it actually inspires better results from the people around you. But even if it doesn't, you should feel good about yourself on set. It's important. And yeah, use gear that makes you feel good about yourself. It's a small price to pay for a piece of gear that, like, all things equal, tends to inspire more confidence in others and yourself. Do it. Look cool. Don't let other people make you feel bad about it. Okay, that's the first video. Got a whole bunch of ideas planned. They will hopefully get better over time. I hope I hope you resonated with this one. Please feel free to leave a message in the comments asking any questions about the setup or the rig. There'll be a lot more to come. Subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.